Anthony Joshua says that if Deontay Wilder refuses to get realistic about his demands to face Joshua, then he will be willing to freeze Deontay Wilder out of the unification picture altogether. Now, by freezing out, he's basically meaning he's not going to fight Deontay Wilder at all. He's not going to give him the opportunity to unify at all unless Wilder gets realistic about the things that he's demanding. Joshua has also, as I covered in a previous video recently, said that Deontay Wilder will not be allowed to enter the ring after the Joseph Parker fight, assuming Joshua wins and beats Parker. And that's not a foregone conclusion, people. But assuming he wins, Joshua says Wilder is not welcome in the ring to do a face-off. Now, some people are interpreting this as what, Joshua's scared of Wilder or something, which is pretty incredible to me to actually believe that. Joshua's been in the ring with Klitschko. I mean, he fought Klitschko, people, in his 18th or 19th fight when he really wasn't ready to fight Klitschko. But he went ahead and did it anyway and scraped by. How's he going to get in the ring with Klitschko in his 18th or 19th fight? Something Wilder didn't do. But yet he'd be afraid to get in the ring with it. It makes no sense, people. He's not afraid of Deontay Wilder at all. And to be honest, I don't think Wilder is afraid of Anthony Joshua. I don't think the fighters are afraid of each other. All this stuff that people are talking about, the fighters are afraid, is just hype from either camp, particularly the Wilder camp. I think it's hype from them and hype from Wilder. And in terms of the fans, I think the fans who are saying this one's afraid or that one's afraid, you know, particularly the ones who are saying Joshua's afraid, it's just not realistic to say that. Why wouldn't he let Deontay Wilder in the ring? Well, Joshua says the fight is not signed, so why am I letting you get in the ring and hype yourself? Basically, that's what you're doing. You're feeding off my hype. You're vampiring off my popularity. This is Joshua's perspective. You're vampiring off my popularity for a fight which is not even signed. So let's say you come to my fight, you get in the ring, you face off. Who's to say you're going to sign to fight me in the next 12 months after that? You might have just used me to build yourself up. You know? People accuse the Eubanks, for example, of using Golovkin to build their name up. In a similar way, perhaps Joshua feels that's what Wilder is trying to do by getting in the ring and facing off with him after the Parker fight when there is no contract in place. So this is Joshua's perspective. Also, when Joshua says he'll freeze Wilder out, that is being interpreted as Joshua ducking, or, you know, Joshua potentially avoiding the fight. And I can understand that criticism, you know, when he's saying he's going to freeze Wilder out. That don't sound good on Joshua's behalf. Let's not get it twisted. That don't sound good at all. You don't want to hear that kind of talk. Maybe it's just a negotiation tactic, but for him to come out and say, I'm going to freeze you out, that don't sound good. That sounds like what they did to Guillermo Rigondeaux. The likes of Scott Quigg and Carl Frampton or whatever. They froze out Guillermo Rigondeaux. And that was because they were afraid to fight Rigondeaux. So when you hear Joshua saying something like this, you wonder, you do, if you're objective, wonder whether Eddie Hearn and Joshua's team don't want the Wilder fight anytime soon. And in fact, I was watching an interview with Robert McCracken, who is Anthony Joshua's trainer. And he was saying that he don't think the Deontay Wilder fight is going to happen anytime soon because it's not big enough yet. And that would tend to suggest that actually Joshua's team are not keen on having the fight now. Maybe not necessarily or ostensibly because they think Joshua's not ready or Wilder's too dangerous, or perhaps that is the reason. Okay, but the reason that Robert McCracken was given is that the fight is not big enough. They want it to be a pay-per-view worthy fight in the United States. And to be fair, right now it isn't. So Robert McCracken would like to see them build the fight up to the point where it's both pay-per-view in the UK and in the US. So maybe it really all just comes down to money. Maybe the fight's not big enough. The animosity between the two camps, the mudslinging between the two camps is only going to help. The mudslinging between the two groups of fans, the British fans, the American fans, the Wilder fans, the Joshua fans, the mudslinging and the insults between the two groups, again, it's only going to help sell the fight. So maybe that's what this is really all about. But again, just to reiterate, I do not believe the fighters themselves are afraid of each other. I just do not believe it. I think anyone who believes that is very naive. You really think Anthony Joshua, a guy who got in there with Klitschko in his 18th fight, Wilder wasn't getting in with Klitschko in his 18th fight. Joshua did it in front of 80,000 people or 90,000 people. You know how nerve-wracking that is? And you're trying to tell me he's afraid of Wilder? He's not afraid of Wilder. His team might be concerned about Wilder. You know, his team might be concerned. I don't know. Possibly. Maybe Wilder's team are concerned about Joshua. I don't know. But in terms of the fighters themselves, they're not afraid of each other, people. Come on. You should have seen particularly enough of Anthony Joshua by now to realize this is not a shook individual. He ain't a shook one. As Mobb Deep would say, this guy's not shook. Yeah. And Wilder, I'm a little less sure about whether he really wants the Joshua fight, but we know that Wilder's got heart. Let's just put it that way. We know he's got heart. You know, he's not a guy who's ever frozen on the big occasion or anything like that. He's got heart. So I doubt Wilder's afraid of Joshua either. I'm not as sure about Wilder, but I doubt it, to be honest, that he's scared of Joshua. I think that any fear that there may be is likely to be with the money men in the two camps of the fighters rather than with the fighters themselves. So, yeah, in terms of freezing Deontay Wilder out, definitely not the kind of talk I want to hear. You know, definitely not the kind of talk I want to hear, because that pushes back a unification, doesn't it? And there's a lot of people. Eddie Hearn is the only person who seems to think that Joshua Wilder can happen in 2018. Everybody else, including people like Dylan White, including Joshua's trainer, from what I remember, Robert McCracken, they're saying the fight is not going to happen in 2018. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, people. Will it happen in 2018? And let me know how you feel about everything I've talked about in this video. All right, it's happening. I'm out.